driving down the road, you really can't tell where your car is. Now, if you're having trouble doing what they call tracking your car, which means you don't know exactly where you are in the lane, or any of y'all having trouble, maybe you always seem to hug the right side or hug the left side, I can tell you exactly how to correct that. The problem with that, if you're having trouble tracking your car, it's because you are looking too close to your car. When you're driving, it's just like walking. You have to look out 20 seconds, quarter mile, in order to get perspective. Just as if I were to try to walk in a straight line looking down at my feet, you can't do it. Or looking up in the air, you can't do it. You have to look straight out. So if you're having trouble tracking, it's because you're not looking up. You've got to look up and look out in order to get perspective. But I'm going to show you reference points that's going to help you know exactly where your car is at all times. Because you actually have different positions in your lane. You're in this big lane, right? You have different positions in there. You can be in the center of your lane. That would be position 1. And you're going to most of the time be in position 1, right? You can be in the side of your lane. Can you think of times when you're going to be right side? When there's a hazard on the left or a blind curve or blind hill in a rural area, you're going to want to be over here always, always. You go around a blind curve, blind hill, be on your side of the road because you don't have any guarantee the other guy will be. Or you might be over here on the left. This is lane position 3. Over on the left-hand side, when would there be a time that you would do this?
If there's a hazard on the right-hand side?
Yeah, or maybe even a pedestrian or a bicycle, okay? Something that you can share the lane with. Now, you can share the lane with anything that is propelled by human motion. So you can share the lane with a skateboard, a scooter, a bicycle. That means as long as you give them 3 feet, you can still be in the lane. So you might want to be all the way over on this left-hand side, right? Or it could be a pothole, anything. A bad shoulder sometimes, out in the country, the shoulders are bad. Now I'm going to tell you how to know where you are in your lane. When you're in this lane position 1 right here, you have 5 reference points on your car. Your reference points, like I said, are points you can see on your car that show you where you are in relationship to the road you can't see. Your reference points are the center of your car, your 2 side mirrors, and your back door handles. Those are the reference points that we use. Now you can't see your back door handles, right? But you know where they are. So when you want to be in the center of your lane and you want to check, looking at this line, now this is perspective. This line will look like it runs right through the center of the passenger side of the hood. It's just right to the center of your car. Looks like it runs right through your passenger. You are in the center of your lane, okay? Now, you can't drive looking at that line. So you're going to glance over there and you can see where you are, right? But when you're driving, the line of sight is your path of travel. You're looking up, right? But say you have to get way over for a blind curve and you can't really tell. There's mailboxes over here and you're worried about hitting that mailbox. When this white line is running right dead center through the middle of your car, you still have 6 inches on this side. You can get all the way over to where that white line's running right through the center of your car. You're still not off the road. And when you're way over here, because there's somebody over here, but you don't want to get in this lane because of oncoming traffic, this line here will appear to run right underneath your left side view mirror, or sometimes they will say right through your headlight, but you can't see your headlight. You can see your left mirror. Runs right underneath your left mirror. You still have 6 inches on this side before you are over. Now your front reference points, you're pulling into a parking spot. Your front reference point is going to be the front mirrors. So you're pulling into a parking spot in a grocery store and you can't tell how close you are to this car over here. When this curb or this line, that's the definition of the end of your parking spot, appears to run right under your mirrors, you have 6 inches. Now this is approximate. If you drive a car like mine, mine's a little bit longer in the front. If I do that, then I'm up on that curb. You have to get in your driveway and pull your car up and get out and look. but it's approximate, okay? So I know for my car, I need to actually just be right in front of my mirrors to be that distance. When you are backing into a parking spot, you want this line to run through your back door handles. You are still 6 inches from the curb. Those are what you call reference spots. So you're down in Carytown and you're parallel parking. Now when you're parallel parking, you need to be 6 to 12 inches from the curb. So you can get in here and you can parallel park and you can see that the curb appears to run right through the middle of your car. You're fine. You can also use these reference points as parking tools, okay? You're going to park in this, you're going to back into this parking space. What you want to do is back up until your back bumper is in the middle of the lane beside the one you're going in. Here's the lane you're going in. You're going to back your car up until your back door handle is lined up to this first line, and then cut the wheels all the way and it will take you right into the center of that thing. So you use that back reference point and just turn and cut back in. The same is true with pulling in. When you're pulling in, the reference point is going to be your mirror lining up to this first line. So learn your reference points on your car. Now they vary a little bit with your car, but when you're driving your car, you will learn that. Now some people don't need reference points. My personal opinion of driving has a lot to do with your vision. If you have really good vision, which, you know, there's several people in my family who have 22 vision, you have really good depth perception and you may not need reference points. But if you have a little trouble figuring things out, reference points are a great aid for you to use. When you are getting off of an expressway or a highway, you want to, first of all, watch those green signs, right, and be prepared for your exit. Get over in advance. Now, be sensitive to the fact that somebody might be coming on and getting off at the same spot. Remember we talked about weave lanes, how there's only one lane for getting on and getting off? You have to work with those people. Because you are on the interstate, really the person getting on should yield to you, but because of the difference in speeds and stuff, sometimes you have to get in behind them. Essentially what you're doing is trading places with them, right? You're getting on and they're taking your spot and you're taking their spot. When you're getting off the interstate, you do not slow down on the interstate. You have your exit ramp up here. Here you are, you're on the interstate, and here's your exit ramp. Your exit ramp, you're in this lane, okay, and then you're gonna have a speed sign here, and it's gonna be slow, 15, 25 miles an hour. You're going 60 miles an hour, and you signal right, you make a lane change, and then you hit your brake. This is where you stop. You do not brake here. You brake on that exit ramp. And sometimes it can be quite short, so you have to really be prepared to stop. When you're coming around, this is called the deceleration lane. Guess what you're going to do?
Decelerate.
Decelerate. That when you get in the exit part, this is your exit lane. This is your exit ramp. When you get here, you should be going the speed that you're going to have to enter in. It's usually like 45 miles an hour. Multi-lane road. Be sure that you're going 45 and that you're going the speed of this road when you get off. It's real easy because of velocitization. You've been traveling at a high speed for a long time, so your perception is off and you will feel like you're practically holding still. You need to check your speedometer often because a lot of times those are dangerous and they're speed traps right there. So be sure that you get off and slow down and enter back into the regular traffic. Now when you're passing someone, let's just talk about passing on the interstate. First of all, where's the passing lane?
Left lane.
The far left lane. This lane is for passing. If you're in this lane and no one is beside you, are you passing? No. Don't get in this lane and travel. This is the passing lane. People get over there in order to pass. Try to keep it open for passing. Now, if you're going through a town, sometimes you've been traveling, and you come to a town where there's a lot of exits off of this road, and maybe even the speed limit will start to drop, right? They're gonna go down to 65. I know when you come in 64 out here in Richmond, it'll go down to 65 from 70, and maybe even go down certain parts of town where the traffic is really heavy, it'll go down even to 55 on the interstate. Watch for that. And in those situations, the traffic is gonna be heavy and all of these lanes are usually full. In that case, sometimes you might wanna get over in this far lane, because these two lanes will be exiting on and off and getting off, in the urban traffic, right? But that would be the exception, like when you're going through town. You're not getting off in that town. You can get all the way over. But when you're out just riding on the interstate, keep this lane clear for passing. Now, a lot of times, everybody's riding in the passing lane. And you'll notice that really the only people who are passing are the people that are in the middle and the far right lane, because people don't want anybody to get in front of them or whatever it is. That's a mistake. That lane needs to be left open. Sometimes you'll have one of those green signs and here's your exit and it's over here. It's in the left exit. In that situation, you're getting off on in the passing lane. This is a very dangerous situation, because what happens is people they'll get on the interstate. This is particularly true right up here. There's a place like that. They get on the interstate and then they have to get off right up here to get on 95. In that particular case, they're going to be trying to shoot across, right?
That's where I hydroplane.
So anytime, that's where you hydroplaned right here at 95?
When I think it's like 95 splits and like 295 goes straight or something.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
it
a
was
dangerous
right
spot.
there.
Yes, this is exactly what I drew, was 295 and 95 coming into it. And it's a very dangerous spot. There's a lot of wrecks right there. It's because it's a left exit. Anytime you see a left exit off of the interstate, you need to take note, slow down a little bit, and be aware of the fact, especially people that are not from this area and don't really understand the traffic patterns, they're going to be cutting across, trying to get off. Now that particular exit is 2 lanes. The lane here, you can actually go off the exit or you can go straight. That makes it a little bit better. And if you use a GPS, a lot of times the GPS, have you noticed it will say, get in the lane next to the right lane and exit here. Sometimes those GPS will give you sort of a heads up and let you know that you don't have to be all the way over in the far left or the far right lane. It might be a 2-lane exit. But anytime you see that left exit, be extra careful. That is a very dangerous spot where you're talking about. That's a bad spot to be hydroplaning. Really bad.
We were going straight when we were getting on 95.
Oh, you were? Well, when I lived up that way, there was actually a wreck at that exit where 2 trucks collided. When they pulled them apart, there was a van in the middle. The whole family was killed. Right, and it was that left exit. So be especially careful in those situations, especially when you're around large trucks. They rule. Stay out of their way. Don't get in between 2 of them. So the other thing about driving on the interstate is you yield to the left. So if you're riding in this lane and you want to get over here and you signal left, check your blind spot all the way across. Be sure you don't just check right here, check all the way to be sure that this car is not coming to the right. If it is, you yield to them. You yield to the left because that is the faster traffic, right? Most of the time for myself, going around town, I will stay in the middle lane, the middle or the right lane, but mostly in the middle lane because there's no traffic getting on and off. And we talked the other day about avoiding the pack mentality, right?